Good evening, folks. Good evening, I'm Alfonso Zenso. The owner of the microphone is here this evening. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for sharing your evening with us here. Beautiful, wet East Coast here, right here from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. I'm a traditionalist, and let's take you to Zulu Whiskey this evening. Welcome to the show. Let's welcome some of our good and valuable viewers, listeners cross country, right here in the USA and other parts of Liberia. DJ Kampa, welcome in the house of LPR. Tangat, welcome. Angel Brown, say beautiful song. Thank you so much. Victoria Taylor is in the house. Maddie Maxwell, I want to welcome all of you. Just do us a favor, hit the share button. Mr. Barney Richard and our own girl, Robert Zawood is always here. To Ruth Dillon, thank you so much. Joyce, Jeffrey Montanian from the Garden City of New Jersey, the Pepper State. Good evening. Welcome to the show. This is easy, and so the voice is much better now. The Lord been praying, so I can return, but I am here. Welcome to the show. We will get this program going to right here, right now. And the song says, "Let's be friendly. Let's do it together." Without unity is all involved. We always like to play songs here that will produce a message, not just only the entire to get a beat of it, but a message, a song that contains message here, and so it is why it is. Thank you so much for coming. It's 8:05 Eastern Standard Time. I am Alfonso Zienso from the diaspora. Informative news outlet Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Thank you so much for being here. To welcome my own mother, Sister Rita. Good evening. Welcome, Esther Toward. Good evening. Good to be here, Kochi. Prosalt, thank you for coming. Aliyu Kroma, good evening to welcome, says Vicky from the land of John McCain, that is in Arizona. Good evening to welcome, and all of our great people. We say, if this is the first time, we say you are wholeheartedly to welcome. We make it fair, balanced, and proportional. Let's switch the gear right now, and we're going to take you inside the same southeastern region there, but you know, we always like to. Part of what we do is to keep our culture. Let's take this one here. If you're from Maryland, get ready. from Alfonso and Sort of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for sharing. It's a little wet here in the East Coast, right here. I'm not sure you're in, but not too bad. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you so much. If this is the first time, we say you are wholeheartedly welcome for sharing your events with us. Right here, what makes it fair, balanced, and proportional to give you the voice. The good thing I'm back. The Liberal and his group been having their fun fair here these few days. The Minnesota politicians who wants Zanza Kawajo, Sisi Goyo, they have managed to persuade the ANC, who were to be the commissioner of police if ANC was to be the governing party or governing party, Amos George from Atlanta, Georgia. And Terry now is drawn heavily into the Liberal soundbite. So they don't see it even when it is wrong. They don't see it. And that's the disappointing aspect. Mally Jones, who is in my own state, Rhode Islanders as well, so just within my own proximity, I don't understand him now too. He's somehow moving in the directions of the Liberal. This is how the uncertainty in politics and national conversations. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you so much. As usual, we will make it news fair, balanced, and proportional for the good of the country, not necessarily to suit your taste. We're here and they're having fun. Sissy on the other side and the Liberal, they're laughing, having great time. That's what happens when the lion, the king of the jungle, is out of town, and they do it. Then they take charge. Then they think they can do it and have their will. Let them come here tonight so we can have the conversation. People call and they want to speak out. You see, Sissy on the other side texting to Liberal, telling Liberal on the end, they're saying his phone battery is dead. The Liberal will not get close to this president. As a matter of fact, the president had a very good weekend, no too much of drama. It will always be there, but for the most part, it was a good start. The Justice Minister to nominate came strong. I'm quite confident he's going to be confirmed. There are little hiccups here and there, but that's natural. So nothing will go so smoothly. This is what they don't do. And that sets them apart from me because for me, I say it, but they are tied to these people. I just hope a name, because the names, there are 132 names. I didn't see Sissy name. I see the Liberal name. And guess what? The Liberal will be calling me behind the scene, whining that his name now. Like, okay, let's be waiting. Maybe we can fast and pray. Your name will come out. Good evening. We want to welcome you to this is the Liberia Public Radio. To Alfonso and Sort. I want to say thank you to the guys been sitting in quite recently. Sisi Goyo, the Liberal Progressive, Tarret, the Moja who wants to, Malitu, I can't trust him. This is the guy who wants to carry a new form of government in the country. Socialism, something. He can't even call it incorrect. He wants to introduce capital punishment. An eye for an eye. You bust my one eye, I bust your one eye. You have Amos George on the other hand, a defeated Kennedy. 1%. We managed to run it out to 1.5. He's here now already in the columns of the Liberal Progressive. Very shortly, they're going to be joining me, and we're going to be having a conversation here this evening, as usual, so that we can discuss a wide range of issues. But my attention is being drawn to a couple of things. This sort of so-called turn youth position. I don't know where the heck that thing came from. It was Helen Johnson Sirleaf. This is what politicians and some of those very people who are whining and screaming about it now, oh, you can't tempt over it, you can't do this. For what reason? Out of 5 million people, why 9 or 8 persons must have a lifetime position? We should wait until they die? It doesn't make no sense. It doesn't make no sense. There must be a complete revision. Helen Johnson Sirleaf, and it is sad the same very Unity Party orchestrated this under the wing of Helen Johnson Sirleaf because she purposely did this to reward her political ally. And the Snow and the rest of the guy did not frown on it. You think, what kind of government will come and say, oh, maybe you, well, you Minister of Finance, attorney as a turning position, that person, you stay there. No, not even in the US here. The president must feel comfortable to work with you. Nobody gonna incorporate people. What is a performance in the first place for which they should have that lifetime position? For what reason? For what reason you should be to GSC or whatever? Yeah, let's see here. That was 2000, I think 2022. Let me see this here. Yeah, strictly nine position. NEC, social gravy area. She did that purposely. She put her people there so that it will be there. And when they are there, they become more influential. That's the secret behind it. But it is unfortunate. Politicians, if it is in their favor, justice will be blind. But when the kingdom capsizes, then they want to give it attention. And I think that is wrong. There were 5 million people. You take viable institutions, agencies of government. You put other people there, maritime. Yeah, so the flags, so vessels are flying the Liberian flags. One person will be there. Whether their party win or not, they are there. You can't move them because group of people just put it together. They were so strategic. They had a hidden agenda, unfortunately, and I forgot to know that time has involved, and people are going to pick up on these things. They're going to have a conversation like we are having now. I'm not in favor of senators being there for 9 years, 6 years. For what reason? You have some, even they are there now, they will seek re-election, then again another 9 years, 18 years. Nothing wrong with you being re-elected, but that aspect to civil society, the civil group society, they need to take a visit at that. It's ridiculous. 9 years, and trust me, some will not leave until they die. So if they not die, your son, your daughter will not have the opportunity to even contest to be a senator or to be a representative. Why? So there are a lot of things need to be put into check if we want to have a fair, balanced, proportional society where people will be able to participate, to speak about their country. This is how civil disobedience and crisis come into a country when few out of the majority, when minute of the people are in charge and the thing is okay. And then you have those that are being rewarded with those stuff. Then what to do to spend huge sum of money into the defendant, the protectant, the shielding, and they give all of the endless justifications for why they should be there. Yeah, I think they need to revisit them, not just on it, but their performance. If you're in this position, why should we keep you there? You were there 6 years, you were there 5 years, 7 years, 8 years. You want to be there. Okay, let's look at, let's review. And I knew exactly where the Unity Party or President Boyka was coming from, because that was one of the things that participated this whole audit thing here, because that where things hell gonna break loose, because people, there will be a lot of discovery. So they were looking at the constitutional aspect of it, and they were going to look at the impropriety of not performing to the task. Then the law kicks in, because if you are not performing to the task, then of course there will be enough reason why they shouldn't. Snowden now today, they're bouncing like a ganga ball because they did it. Their people were directly or indirectly to reward it. Now things swing around, so everybody taking a second thought of it. constitution is coming in. Yeah, it's something. The society is not fair, and it will never be fair. Welcome to the show, to the analysts. The link is all out there, and I intend to put this number out here to let the people speak their mind on this, and we can have a conversation. I am Alfonso Zienso, right here at the New England Bureau of the Library Public Radio. Welcome to this Friday editions of Lpr-Tv Live with the Analysts. Okay, that's a song that introduces some of our programs here. By the way, we also have the capacity to advertise your business, whatever event you have, be it with USA, Liberia, wherever it is. If there's no way we can find that way, we have the capacity to live stream to your membership event, just in case you have something business you want to advertise, let us know. We can also do that at a little cost, and that way you can make us to empower us. Okay, getting the message. All right, we will respond to those calls. The information coming from inside Liberia. Yeah, so just in case you have a business, you want to promote, I wouldn't just only talk politics here, so you know. Yeah, it's a lady in UK we reach out to, we're going to be having it. I think, and that's what we need to do. The country is, I mean, it's a country, so we must be able to discuss all sectors of our society, and that everybody should be able to. People should. We should make people to get their presence felt about the country in terms of the things that they are doing. So we intend to be having to our range of program. You listen to Mr. Goya the other day, some educational development programs. The Moja Mali Jones is coming up with his program. You want to see different things coming here that will reflect other aspects of our society, because these people senator representing just a headache, just a headache. But unfortunately, they takes the dominant part of our society. They are the decision maker. They are our Antonies. They make decision laws for us. So everything we talk about, we do it. Okay. Now this book is about to get a little bit dicey in this conversation here. The analysts, they are greatly assembling in. And so let me not waste time. I'm not going to be like a liberal who likes to keep people on layaway and talk his tabata. But I've come to realize the liberal tabata is being facilitated by some of the analysts here. So I got to be very careful here as well. My own guy, man, I visited in Minnesota, but more or less he seems to move in the directions of the liberal now. I don't understand what's going on. But you know what? I am who I am, and I'm going to make it fair and balanced. Let me go to Minneapolis, Minnesota, where the legendary Sister Goya is standing by, and the only job he wants Omen Zanza Kawajo. Can you imagine? Zanza Kawajo. I don't know how much Zanza Kawa is getting a month. Just so he car battery, the woman win election, take care of it. You want to, it's like, I mean, that's not fair. It's like killing somebody. The man, they still the puppet weapon win election. They took the car battery. Then you way here, you won't go and take the Omen job. The war is not fair. Okay, Mr. Goya, good evening. Welcome.
How you doing, Mr. So? It's nice to be back. I haven't seen you in a very long time.
Yeah, the liberal person with flu. The liberal purposely person, for every time I try to get better, he calls, it will kick in. But this time around, so what I did, you know what, I decided to reject his calls until because I don't even listen to his voicemail, because every time I try to do that, go or the African men. People, somebody gotta be responsible for
But
something.
if the Lpr is able to do that to you, then I think he need to throw a hat in the race for cultural ambassador.
You will not get one vote. Hey, Moses, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us, guys.
Cultural ambassador.
Remember who when he come, he'll be dancing. You know, people they're trying to file protests against people trying to protest of his behavior here because his own worshiping is just way over the top. Okay, Sister, good evening. Welcome to the show. Too much going on. What kind of tabata you were talking yesterday? Where you come from with it? Why are you on my MCSS? What's going on? What happened again, my man? What's the problem? Oh, the appointment thing going, you see the MCSS business you. I don't understand you.
You saw MCSS respond, attack you in the
I refuse to.
The man said,
hey, God, man, right there, he got it. What kind of man is this? You tired? You don't want to go after Zanza Kawai again? Why are you opening so many fronts like this?
Man, we felt like brother fire by force. The man responded to say their website was down. The reconstructed it, and he gave me the new website address. But the new website address are the old website address, and then when you click on it, it took the whole website down.
You get serious problem, man. I know. And guess what? The Lpr is not a good guy. I would throw all his recordings in the chat. When you finish doing that, they say going after our men now. Really, when you sat there, when sister were talking, were throwing it, you didn't stop you. I was in there. You want to come? Don't put me part of that gossip.
Okay, we should go to Twitter and we should go to Instagram for student data. If we want to know student data, we should go to their Facebook page. On a serious note, Mr. So, people who know better, people who we trust to know better and have the skills, when those people don't do better for me about us, man, that's why my own brother, Professor Isaac Ahoy.
What is responsible? How do we determine who knows better, who's supposed to do better? Are there other factors to consider why they are doing what they are doing? Because this is not, it has become, it's a pattern. Trust me, in the long run, this same very government, people that came with this sort of a what do you call it, rescue train, some of them will end up throwing us in the sea. So what is usually responsible for that?
Well, I don't want to speak about hypotheticals, right? But Zawlo was on this network. He was on Focus on Liberia. We all know that he's working the educational system. Yeah, he was a teacher. He understands the process. He understands the system. So he knows better. And he's a math guy. And he knows data is what people use to make decisions, right? So you can't then go to Liberia and the things that you've been doing here. People have been holding you accountable here for student data, for performance data, for growth data, for proficiency data. Then you go to Liberia where you don't have to deal with so many things. You're just looking at sometimes WIAG result or looking at school output. And you can't even tell us, then you say you're doing well. You say you're doing well, but you can't tell us about what measure. You can't give us the metrics. Then you start a website that all the languages are in foreign language. Then you get people need Sonita XXXX. You can't even complete the things that.
Who told you to go? Where you want to look for that?
Why not research? So the man took the website down.
Yeah. Man, you so kind of heavy. I don't get it. Yeah, that's a small bar. I can't go. Okay, the Liberal Progressive. Okay, he even started drinking water. The Liberal.
If any meeting, you say again.
Yeah, then when you're ready, you say, I don't want it. Hey, Papi, yeah, I don't know a problem.
If any meeting, you say again.
Okay, like he won't be. Yeah, okay, so yes, but why should we need to serve these people to remind us why people change? Is there something responsible? Is it like being protective of their job, if they try to do something that is right? Is it their masters they are trying to appease? What is responsible for that? I try to figure it out.
Then Mr. So, you see, this is the thing, and I know yesterday even Mr. Toes tried to play the devil advocate, right? Say we don't understand what's going on. But I really, for the life of me, right? I want to understand who would be against you publishing data to say of all of our ninth graders that start WIAC, for example, this percent fail. These are the breakdown in these schools. These are the amount that fail science or English and math. Who would be against that to say, okay, here are of the schools in MCSS. This is where we had the most. This is where we see the problem. We are going to focus money here. This is where we need government to put money. Who would be against that? At minimum, who would be against you publishing a website that is just functional? That your picture as the superintendent is not the same picture used as a council member picture. Who is against you putting real people picture up? Right? I don't understand that, and I don't think there's anybody against that. So that cannot be system. For me, the lowest hanging fruit, just your website that is just functional, that is in English, is the first thing. Who would be against the MCSS having a website in English? I don't understand that. So for me, I don't want to make excuses for anybody, and especially when people who have lived in the system, who have worked in the system, and get in Lpr and forget the system that they worked in for so long. That is disappointing. So we will start with our own people that we love and trust, so that the other people that are farther away from us will know that when we're coming for them, we bring the same fire and fury, because Liberia will change. We will change it by fire, by force. And they came to rescue that country, we'll rescue it by force. The rescue train now won't go, we'll put that on the air, we'll drag it, it will go. They will rescue that country by force.
You're sounding like Coloba now, who say next year the president will go inspect the guy on BTCU. Okay, so but you have this guy here, the liberal here. I don't know how we're going to manage or deal with him too, because I'm afraid you getting too closer to him. He might contaminate you with some of his those failed liberal ideology. The liberal progressive. Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. So. For some reason, you were a little bit manipulating my system here, but I got it under control. I know who you are. Thank you.
All right. Okay, good to have you here. One of the pressing issue here with this whole tenure position, people, while the president is putting people that I have my own version, the country, every other Liberian people have their own version. But my concern here, why will 1 people out of 5 million plus people who don't have a correct census set, but why will certain people just will have that sort of entitlement they should be there? Why was that thing done? I think the Helen Johnson salute, the same very united party, of which I believe now the president, when he was president of the Senate, I don't know what were their calculations then, what I said now, that they just wanted to, have these people here. They want to stay there. Okay, fine. Why we should maintain you? What has been your performance in the past years for you? We have been there, and you swear say you alone should be there. Then they don't want to leave unless they die. We don't want our people to die. We have brains, we have professionals, we want to keep them. But equally so, there are other Liberians who are smart, and people should be able to get a taste of the country. But let me get to your view here. What's your view here, the Liberal? I wouldn't be surprised if you have an extreme view as well. But with this whole attorney here, it was a smart political move on the part of the president, because he was then president of the Senate. He also knows that bringing in this audit, is that a right way to do it, or is he taking an approach, good approach?
Mr. So, good evening and welcome back. Thank you for telling me thank you for doing all of the work for LPR for the last 2 weeks.
I didn't say that. You can tell yourself thank you. I don't say that. Tell you thank you for what?
Because I've been doing a lot of hard work here on LPR for the last 2 weeks.
Well, I didn't know that. I didn't know about it.
Okay. But let me just tell you this, and I'll be ridiculous on this. As a vice president, the Constitution says, it states clearly in the Constitution, your job, your main job as a vice president is to assist the president. And if the president comes out with a particular policy, your job is to assist. So President Baka assisted Madam Salih to have the 10-year position business treatment. The time over, he's the one that needed to assist. He said they must be fired. They must be fired. What 10-year? What 10-year? That constitution say that. Who entitled for position for 12 years, 6 years? You alone, no book. They must get fired. Let them go sue the president. Let them go sue the administration. The administration, you know the advice that I would give them? When they sue them, we know they're going to win. So, okay, we make payment arrangement. $25 a month. What a ridiculous thing. You wore CDC uniform. You wore CDC hat. You campaigned against the incoming government. They won. You want them to keep you? Should they trust you that you would, Mr. So I'm asking, do you want them to keep you? Should they trust that you will be able to carry out the policy of the people that you ran against? Far from it. Even people in total, they want you to be fired.
So I'm not a sycophant and hypocrite like you. When it is real, I speak. And this is where I agree with the legal counsel to the president today. And that was a very valid point, in as much people want to make comparison yet. Those positions, you must play a neutral role. But these people, they were vividly saying they were campaigning. And if you find yourself in that
idea from me, let me play a little bit of a Prophet Key here tonight. I brought that idea on and they took it from me, and the executive is running away with it. That's good because they're listening to us. Go ahead, make your point.
All right. I'm not going to make my head for whatever reason. I think that way. Sissy, you listen to the legal counsel to the president. To some extent, he made an argument, especially when he injected that people were campaigning. If you have these are positions of with integrity. They see you should set yourself apart. Do not get involved into politics. I mean, man by nature, something would be within the system, but when it's thrown out there and seen vividly, then of course you get aside. So whoever wins it, they will say, well, this guy is not part of it. So let me hear from you.
Look, the reason why integrity institutions are set up is so that they transcend. Their leaders don't be worried about political influence or being fired by the government, for whatever reason, being replaced right away immediately. It's not a bad thing to have integrity institutions. Here in America, we have a lot of integrity institutions. I'm thinking about the Security Exchange Commission, the National Election Commission, the FBI, the DEA, the IRS. Those are integrity institutions. But just because you are appointed doesn't mean you cannot be removed. Of course, there are reasons that are laid out for which somebody can be removed. Now, for me, I will hope that the Barker administration has the evidence that they know they can go to court and win on. And that's the reason they're removing these people from office, and they can be able to fight that in court. If that happens and the Supreme Court rules, fine. But if they are doing it like the Lpr is saying, just knowing that these people will win and then make negotiation for them to pay them, cents on the dollar of
don't listen to this guy. Nobody paying money to him.
That would not be fair. That would not be the change we all asked for. That would not be right to any Liberians. These are Liberians. If they haven't done anything at all to warrant you removing them from tenure positions that you were over the Senate when these laws were passed, it makes no sense for you to violate those. So I really hope, for me, like I said last night, I'm going to wait for the Supreme Court to rule. I really hope that listening to Bushman and other people, that they have the evidence, that they have just causes, just reasons. It's everywhere. A lot of these people were seen being partisan, and a lot of them, we have to check to see, even when you audit them, have they not been corrupt? Are they not just causes? So let them go to court and let's see what happens. But for the record, because we are staying in this world, and I know seditionists like to pretend like they got short memory. On March 13th of 2018, in Globe Africa, Sema Cephas wrote an article entitled 10 New Positions Are Unconstitutional. And he argued that. Okay, this was CDC when they took over. They use that argument to take people like Isaac Jackson out of power. Even when the Supreme Court ruled against them, they refuse to listen to the Supreme Court. Okay, I'm not saying that this administration should do exactly what the CDC did, but I will hope the seditionists can understand that they are in no position to be trying to push issue of tenure when they even argued against it and violated it. For those of us who were not part of those violations, we are still asking this government to ensure that the rights of every Liberian is protected. And therefore, these citizens that occupy these tenure positions, if they have done nothing that warrants you removing them, you should not remove them. But if you have the evidence that they've done stuff that warrant the removal, then remove them and go to court. And whatever way the Supreme Court rules, you should follow the ruling of the Supreme Court, because they should be the final arbiter of the land.
For discussion purposes, I'm going to come back to that. Let me welcome my man, Tara Collins, is up here, a political analyst. Are you in Liberia now?
Well, I think the background can tell you, because if I were there, there would be no current.
Oh, come on. You live, I tell you, you should be on the executive line. You shouldn't be in that.
But you know, if I get on the executive line, you know, Mary Brock she can't humble me, because even the president horse is on the executive line.
Okay, good evening. Good to be here. Be back, and thank all of you guys.
Mr. So,
good to see you back, Mr. So. At least I like to see that energy. The way you were looking the other day was not correct.
Right. This guy here. Every time I talk to him, that's what I start coming in. You know what I did? I avoided his phone call, because for every time I talk to him, it's like his virus or something he is injecting through that. Yeah, sending that sort of radiation coming to him. So I sanction all of his calls until.
So before Terry comes in, let me take this thing serious a little bit, just a little bit, and not much. I'll be ridiculous throughout the show, but I'll take this one here a little bit serious. Mr. So, a government is supposed to be a continuity. There shouldn't be people, especially the President Baka, who believes in the serving process, which is every Liberian that have the ability must serve. The government of the Republic of Liberia, especially any government, for that matter, has policy that they have crafted, believe that those policies that they're bringing to the table will improve the lives of the Liberian people. These policies must be able to somebody must be able to carry it out. Those who are charged to carry out these policies, the president and his people must trust those who are going to be charged to carry out these policies. During the election, and I'm being very serious, many of these people that are serving the term position was vigorously campaigning, and nothing's wrong with it. That's their right. But now that they have defeated, they're now
something wrong with it. You see, this is.
Can I finish? I'm taking it serious.
No, but don't say nothing wrong with it. Something wrong with it. This is who you are.
The Constitution allows them to run campaign. There's nothing barred them from running campaign against whoever they want to run against. My point is, when you do that, when you publicly campaign against another person, and that person having to win, you leave. Because now you have exposed yourself. Not only that, because you do not believe in the policy of this person. That's why you were campaigning against it. You weren't campaigning against him because you don't like him as an individual. You were campaigning against him because his policy that he's bringing on board, you believe are not good for the Liberian people. Yet the Liberian people said, we want those policies. You who don't believe in it, excuse yourself. You don't have to be disgraced in this manner. Let the people.
Okay, your time over. Your time over. I'm not going to
do that, and therefore, President Baka has the constitutional right to make sure his policies survive. I'm a liberal. I love my liberal behavior, but this one here, I'm a conservative. Fire them.
Terry, will you continue to hang out with this guy who flip-flops on issue? Very selective. He said nothing wrong with it. When we're talking about preserving institutions it comes with responsibility, how they should set themselves apart as an institution because they are integrity institution. He said nothing wrong with it, but they should fire them. So what is he saying? I don't want us to dwell on it, but let me just get your take here. You listen to the legal guy to the president. He struck on something very, very much important. My guess, when you see the legal counsel to the president speaking in that context, in that manner, it means there was a consultation with the president. Look, this thing here, I'm going to take a legal approach to it. But we're seeing some of the backfire coming in from Parliament, be it the Senate, the Rep, and all of that. We don't know what sort of front line will be opening. Was that a right approach he came with today to speak the way he spoke?
Well, yeah, I think he tried to defend the decisions of the president. Some people have taken it out of context, and obviously the opposition will do that. And they're running with it, and they're using it against Ambassador Boyka. But and I think
when you say they're using it, what do you mean? They're using it wrongly?
It's yes, because there are some things he stated that could jeopardize the policy of Ambassador Boyka that says, and I quote, "We will not do business as usual." So they're looking at it from an angle wherein if you are not going to do business as usual, and President Weah did these things, it was a usual thing according to the liberalization, a way of doing politics in Liberia. Then that means that you should not do it the way they're doing it. That means you should follow the reputable procedure. But the way I look at it, the way I would look at it from my own opinion, all right, these senators and lawmakers that I saw on Spoon Talk today is testing Ambassador Boyka. And if we fall prey to the testing, because I just saw some of the executive mansion statement that, they're going to revisit, the agreement between the tenure position, they're going to revisit it, and they're going to act accordingly, which means they're walking back on what, that guy said today. So I think because of what was going on Spoon Talk, and the public can listen to Spoon. So I think that they're trying to, and you don't want to allow for Spoon TV to be bullying the president and directing him indirectly in the way they want him to go after he had made a decision of his own. So in as much as we need a president at listings, I also want my president to be high-headed too, high-minded, that he will make decisions and stand by it. Otherwise, they're going to see him as a weak president and they will take advantage of him. That is how I look at it.
Before I go to Sisi, you said something which seems to be like indicting the former president as usual when you were making a. Are you saying there were some violations on the part of the outgoing administration with respect to these turning positions or what? I just want to be clear on that.
Sure, it's all over the place because most of the position, he took people out of places, that had tenure position, and he replaced them, which was because according to the information, the Supreme Court interpreted the tenure position as a contractor position, which means you can remove them and pay them off for the balance tenure that is left over. So if that be the case, because Supreme Court is an arbitrary law, what they rule on, any law they rule on become a binding law. So if they interpreted the law in that manner, like the way that guy was stating today on our on the executive platform, that means that he was stating from the Supreme Court ruling in the past. So that means that which the Supreme Court had ruled before has become a law, and it is on that backdrop that the president is enacting this particular measure. He's taking these measures on the basis of the ruling Supreme Court rule in the past during President Weah's government. So you can't say that, you can't say that the president is wrong Because when Supreme Court interpret the law in that manner, that means that it becomes a sequence. Anybody will follow that procedure. So that is what makes it not to be wrong. So I don't know why people are flagging around, oh, you can't do business as usual, and and da. You know, if the Supreme Court rules in this regard, stating that a tenure position of such and such and such, as President Weah did in the past, was
so quickly here. Don't you want to start Tabata with the same liberal here? So before I want to go to Sisi now because you going too much places here. What Weah did it wrong, President Weah? Why his action was it wrong?
That's what I'm saying. It's not wrong because the Supreme Court interpreted it.
So in other words, Ambassador Boyka or Unity Party is following suit of that of President Weah.
Certainly.
Okay.
Because because Supreme Court say it's not wrong.
Okay. Sissy, this is a convoluted one. The Liberal and Terry, I don't know whether they are dividing role or they are on the same pace with this here. But do you think here, at the end of the day, the Senate, whoever going to be nominated, it has to go on the floor? Do you think the executive mansion is talking to the Senate? Because at the end of the day, it has to be pushed on the floor. Some conversation going to go on. The outcome potentially could go to the final arbiter of the justice systems in the country, which is the Supreme Court. Do you think the executive mansion is in conversation with the leadership in the Senate?
I think the Liberal and Terry Collins should never be advisors to presidents in democratic societies.
You agree with me? I said that this guy should not get closer. There you go.
To say that,
for you.
for Terry to say that he let your president listen, but he must be strong-hearted, strong words, almost like when you do wrong, you should just be consistently wrong. Even when people point out that you're wrong, just say, yeah, I was wrong, but I'm still doing it. And the Liberal Party, just said when the Liberal is different. But look, let me say this. The first problem here is that when the Supreme Court ruled in the case between Isaac Jackson at the IMO and the Republic of Liberia, the Supreme Court ruled that all parties should return to status quo ante, meaning Isaac Jackson should get a job back. They did not rule for the government. The government refused to honor the ruling of the Supreme Court. Those are two different things. And there are quite recently in the United States, the ruling on reproductive health, women's right to reproductive health, which have been standing ruling on Roe v. Wade for 50 plus years by the U.S. Supreme Court. This current Supreme Court overruled a standing judicial precedents. So the case might look similar, but there might be certain things that will make it different. And the Supreme Court can rule against something that they might have ruled in favor of that looks similar to that. So for me, all I can say here is I understand the argument the Liberal is making on a level of administration. If I'm coming in, I need to bring all my people on who believe in my ideas, who believe in my ideology in order for me to be successful. However, we have laws. And the vice president knows about the laws on tenure positions, right? And so we cannot come out and say we are going to ignore certain portions of our laws because they are inconvenient to us. That is not how we run democratic societies.
We want to make a commendation.
That is not how we run democratic societies. Now, I agree if the president's a legal advisor is laying a case, and the case is that there are reasons, and the reasons laid out that people can lose their position when they're tenured, and these folks have been found to violate that, that is a good thing. If they violated the law, then strip them of their tenure position. But you should not do it simply because you understand that you know that people will win, but you're just doing it simply because you want to struggle and put them in the court cases, and you just wrangle them through the court system forever until they get there and go sit down. Then that is not a change. Just because George Weah did it doesn't mean we should do it. That was the reason we all came together to remove George Weah from power. Because
we never with us anyway.
We knew that we did it the right way. So for me, I'm not in the position to pass the judgment. Right?
The guy is ready to contest with you this evening. Say you were not with them.
I am not in the position to pass a judgment. The government has a right under the law to remove people for cause. Now, those people have the right to go to court and say there was no cost. My thing I keep saying here is both parties will end up at the Supreme Court. And whenever the Supreme Court rules, both parties should honor the rulings of the Supreme Court. We should not go back to the Supreme Court saying, you know, you're wrong, and you say, no, I'm not doing it, and you leave it alone. We can't get back to that point where the Supreme Court was toothless. On the issue of the senators have immense powers, but sadly, I don't think the other of them recognize the powers that they have. Because if you believe that some of these appointments were made illegally, that they're replacing people that do not need to be replaced, then you hold up the appointment of the nominees that have been sent to you. You have the power to do that. Why are you all around on
but you surprised me, or Sissy. When you say
that, it's not surprised. This is
what I said that they should hold up the appointment. That's their power. Why surprise you on that? That's not the Senate power. That's the power of the Senate. They can hold up appointments. So what is surprising there about that? He's feeding
into
so
the bite of
the appointment because
the confirmation.
Anyway.
The confirmation. The Senate can hold up confirmation. You see why we when Dylan there, when Joe we are in.
I understand what you're trying to say, but
right.
Will you restrain the government from proceeding because of another decision
the
made
Senate
by the
can shut down the government.
But here's the thing: the Senate is the check made on the government on the executive. So yes, you can refrain the government from proceeding wrongly. Just because we won't go forward, don't mean we go forward. Just because we won't move backward.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that.
No, what I'm saying is, he's saying that the Senate should withhold the government.
I said they can't. There's a two different.
Okay. Yeah, but you gotta be definite now. When you say they can, when you say they can, that means you are supporting that idea. So you can be in the middle. Say. You gotta be definite. You can't say they can. They won't press you. Then you jump on honor. Then you say no.
Terry, don't do that. In English, when somebody says you can't, it means you have the ability. It doesn't mean I support that ability. So I didn't
still means that your opinion is driving an analogy.
Terry,
your opinion is driving an analogy.
Terry, let me say something now. You can wear green necktie without suit. It doesn't mean when you wear, I will not laugh at you. You have to. It doesn't mean I'm supporting.
Let me just
hold on. So Terry,
that's not how English works.
So what we are saying. It is unfortunate. The liberal now, he's feeling very guilty with himself. You see, when you see somebody sit and bending at it now, like, oh, what did I put out? What I put out here? But I know he's going to give some sort of deflection. But what we are saying, the Senate, that house, the first branch of government, get an immense power. And I don't think it is too early for the executive branch and the house, both houses, to get into a tussle now, because at the end of the day, the agendas of the executive, it gotta be. Why you think when they're talking about government shutdown here is because the Senate, they feel that certain thing is not right. So at the end of the day, they court deal. That's how politics work. This guy, I've said it repeatedly on this network, he should not get closer to Joseph Boyka. And that's one of the reasons, many of the reasons, and they now call Jabateni as assistant minister, they will not call his name. They will not. He's a good guy. He's qualified. He's supposed to be the minister of public work, but he get bye ideas. You see why you're talking? You say, yeah, they're wrong. Nothing wrong with that. But they must fire them. That will make payment plan.
Mr. So, let me just say this. Let me just tell you this, and I'll be more ridiculous now. Let me just tell you this. In 2029, the almost entire Senate and the House of Representatives going to seek re-election. President Baka should shop it to them, because if the president come to them and bring in a good agenda that Liberian people support, let's see brown bag senators and brown bag senator and things like that. Say, you think that Minnesota we talk about? This is Nigeria. You think they're gonna stand up and say our whole nomination? Let me just tell you that if I was President Baka, if I was advising President Baka, I would make President Baka to recognize and shove it to these people, make them to pass law that will benefit Liberian people. Because at this time, if any of them come and try to resist, you check them and publish their name. I send this bill, I send this idea, and these are the people that are against me. Everyone going to be showing up 2029. You think who's going to say I'm against a development agenda? So President Bakana, you saw that deal he had with that iron ore people coming from Guinea going to become. You saw how it's so popular. Those are the things with those kinds of popularity. President Bakana should go to that Senate. Say you. I want their bill passed. They say no. You put your knee on the radio. You think we here to come play around for somebody to hijack? You think that America we're talking about here for somebody to come hijack our rescue train? Since they talking about putting tire. What tire is that? Firestone tire. We want Firestone tire. We want Firestone tire on the train. We gonna get it. What is it? The mountain in Norfolk County. Though iron ore coming from there. The mountain in Grangida. Though iron ore coming from the mountain in Nima. Though iron ore. Those are the iron we're gonna use on the train to move this country forward. You yourself, you've been telling us we're gonna make this country change by fire, by force. You've been saying that. This is the train that we take it. We're not here to come for Senate, the brown bag envelope people that they're able to stand and say I'm holding a confirmation. I think President Bakar, if you're listening to me, show it to them.
But I thought you saw the iron ore for what it gives you long time. Your nephew said you saw the iron ore before you get the power.
My nephew ain't eat a gym, lifting weight every day. He eating a iron. My man, I beg you.
Wow. It's so sad.
If you fool around and the train leaves you, you're gonna have to lift weight until the train come back. You think we have to play around? We will change that country by fire, by force. We're not here to play around.
You see, this is not funny, Sissy. With this kind of guy here sits behind the microphone and say these kind of things that comes out of him, and then he say he liberal. I wonder what kind of man he is. He's like a Newsmax guy, or how you call this guy, Bill Cunningham, and type of people. That's
OAN, American News Network, OAN.
Yeah.
But Keto Osuka for him, he keep talking. Keto and Osuka.
Keto then the guy knows weight in the kind of.
So okay. So how I've not seen that statement what Terry was talking about. Do you think the executive I haven't seen that maybe
on the international website is not there either, so I was looking for that.
It's on Facebook on the executive mansion website. I mean not the website, but the Facebook
on the Facebook page.
From Kula?
On the Facebook page.
Okay,
no,
I'll try
executive mansion Facebook page.
Why you think if they do you think there's a slide? Then do you think there's some sort of disconnect for which they are taking some sort of political drawback to say, hey, we maybe they will not come out to kind of like undercut what the counsel to the president said, but of course they're going to fine tune it and say, hey, maybe we're going to give you some.
Terry is right. It was about 2 hours ago.
2 hours ago.
Yeah, a committee is being formulated to review all tenure-related issues and would advise the president accordingly. Also, all tenure-related issues.
So, okay. Now the Liberal is on your own. Thank God Joseph Boyka and the people, they are not listening because he is a bad, if you're making chauffeur, he's going to crash that train and everybody going to leave in whatever it is. Now, if this is the case, then wait a minute. Why some of these things were not taken into consideration to have these sort of revisions and just come out? Is it a good, I know mistakes, I mean, everything not going to be going perfect. Why these things are not been properly taken care of before, they face the microphone or come to the press to speak out?
I think this is responsible, though. I think this is a responsible move, and that's why I was saying, for Terry to say that, Babe should be strong-willed and not listen. That's why I said that was wrong. In government and in administration,
wrong. Is that way
you would take some decisions, and sometimes based on the pushback from your public, and especially some pushback from Senate. And like the Liberal said, you need to build that coalition for your agenda to go through. So you get this much pushback. Sometimes it's okay to you're not retreating. You're saying we have a committee. Chances are that committee is going to come back and say, well, what the president did was right. And the president can say, you know what, we look at it, we did this, and people push back, we listen. We went back and looked, but this is the right decision. That way, it looks like this is a statesman that's listening. Look, the Supreme Court is wishy-washy on this issue of the tenure position, right? We talk about Isaac Jackson and all those other people. So the Supreme Court is wishy-washy. Therefore, the president, the executive, got no really clear definition of what they can and cannot do. So sometimes you got to do so many things, and where they get tested in the court, let the court slap your hand and say, no, you can't do it, and you take it back. I think that's how a responsible government should behave, and I applaud them for doing that, for telling the people that they're going to look into it. That doesn't mean that the president is weak. It just means that, look, we hear you, and we're going to form a group, and we're going to listen to what the group says, and we're going to move forward. And
I would say a sort of different engagement with the two branches of government in terms of being very forceful now coming at the executive, and then I mean from the legislature or the executive. I was seeing something new here happening, unlike in the past administrations. I'm not sure whether fair to say that. In terms of being forceful and the executive in the other way consideratory to say, hey, we're going to take this other approach. It wasn't that much in the last administration.
No, and that's the problem, you see, and that's why the people are not doing business as usual. This is what they're talking about. Because in the last government, you will have the likes of McGill then doing their hand telling you to shut up, and by now you will have my uncle, the Gucci wearing kissy man. He will be going on and yelling and everything. But you see what happened. You saw Kula Fofana. You saw the press conference. So they're saying, look, well, we're going to go back. We're going to look at this. The issue of the AFL wives, we're going to form a committee to look into this and report back to us. Those are how responsible governments deal with stuff. It's not telling people to shut up. It's not saying we got 28 years coming, y'all get tired. It's not that. It's okay. People are having genuine concern. We need to listen to them. This is how you run a people-centered government. And I applaud the president and his team for thinking about this and going back to say, look, we'll go back and look at this. Because there's a pushback from our citizens. We have to listen to them. And these are people whose livelihood we're looking at, instead we're taking their jobs from them. We just can't ignore it. Seditions are Liberians too. So we have to make sure that we're doing the right thing by all Liberians. And I think that's a responsible move.
The Liberal, do you agree with that?
Of course. The young men have seen the light. Sese Goya have seen the light tonight, and he's quite on board. This is a reasonable and this is a responsible government. Honor President Baka, Mr. So, he told us from the beginning, we're not coming to come play around. Look, just today, there was an announcement on Daily Observer when he told his people, the nominee, those who have already been confirmed. He said, if you don't want to be machine, if you don't want to be embarrassed, don't play with the people money. This is not the government. If you think you're here to corrupt, you will pay the price. And he is quite ready. Mr. So, the George Weah-led government was the most, forget using the word corruption, but it was the most money-making government for themselves. They came in, block all the laws, make sure trample all the laws, and steal as much as they can. That is CDC for you. This government. Look, and on a very serious note, what Mr. Goya just said, if you have problem and the government said, look, we're going to look into it. What else? What other ground you have to do but to wait and make sure and they will look into it. There will be people that form the information, the result coming back might not be in your favor, but it doesn't mean the government was not listening. The government have made a point, and the people came back and make a recommendation. The people who are coming to make that recommendation, they are not from Guinea, they are not from Sierra Leone, they are Liberians just like you who were complaining, and they saw it differently. The government is being responsible. Mr. So, you will be inside for 6 years. And then we will come again. You will be inside for another 6 years. You will not touch power again. No more. CDC will not touch the executive mansion for a very long time. Who you got? Nobody. You come with us. Let's move the train. We all fit in this train. Let's go ahead. This your cheap propaganda is not going to work.
This guy, I don't know. Terry.
Yeah, so I have a different view of that statement. Like I said previously, I hold to my statement. I believe that Ambassador Boka, as a leader, you have to be hard-minded. You have to be hard-minded in some decisions that you take, in some decision that you make, especially if it's going to affect your agenda. All right, like it's all on social media. The legal counsel to the president said it today that hey, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to know. Let these people go to court. We have already made our pronouncement. We have made our projection. We're removing them. If they have a problem with it, let them go to court. Let the law interpret that we wrong, and we will take the fall. But I'm not going to walk back on my statement.
I don't need to interrupt. The government can chew gum and walk at the same time. They got people who set up to look into the thing.
I agree, Liberal.
It doesn't change anything.
It's good too, but what I'm saying is, what if the decision changes? You see, that is one of the things that I do not, because then it brings to mind that the opposition will say, okay.
Are you worrying about the reaction to aftermath of it, as saying the government to be
you worry about? The people that put their foot in
the aftermath, Mr. So, because you know what happened? Our president have been making some mistakes, and the opposition is watching it, and they're taking advantage of these things, and they keep testing him every time he made these mistakes. And my thing is, he have to remain the president by his word. When you say something, you stick with it no matter what until it turns against you.
When you say stick,
not everything. I agree my president should listen to me when I say something, but not everything I say he should listen to. That's why we made him president. That means we're depending on the whole country, depending on the decision.
With you tonight. I'm going to differ with you on this.
I say alone. I'm willing to say
Hold on. Let's watch and see. Father and son, what's going to happen?
Terry, just a little bit. Just a little bit, not much. Here is a thing I want you to understand. The government of President Bakai made pronouncement during the campaign that we are going to be leading the entire country. Now, in order for you to lead the entire country, people in Grand Jida, they speak in Kran. People in Lofa County, they speak in Lama and other Agisi and other. You see what I'm going? So we are now all speaking the same dialect. So the president have to be mindful of that. So he has to be ready to say, okay, where are we going with it? That's why you have the advisor. If you have somebody to be rigid, that's George Weah and Samuel Twe, benevolent dictator. We don't want that. This is why we keep George Weah people out. If you're asking the president to be rigid, whatever position, he can be rigid, but that's not something that will be for him to be rigid on a national issues. I will expect him to show that he's flexible. That is the responsibility of government. However, being flexible does not mean you can be pushed around. And look at President Baka. Does he look like somebody that will be pushed around? I got a tape here where he told President Weah, all the women in the country that you and Uno women, that the people that the men you push around. You think President Baka is there for somebody?
Can I say this something? Because I was on the floor and Liberal intercepted me.
But that's how I don't know what his problem.
What I want to say, Liberal, is this. I don't want a weak president that will be always compromising his own statement that he made. That is my point of argument. I'm not saying that the president should not. President Walker is not a man like President Weah that will not listen to people that he just go about making decisions carelessly and who all true. No, that is dictatorship. But a president should not be too soft, and he should not be too hard. He should be in the middle, which means there are some decisions that you take, you should be, especially the tenure position decision. I believe is a solid decision. All right. And if it takes it, let the court interpret. No, it's not irreversible, but let the court say you are making the decision. So let the court be the one to interpret it.
Or you want them to go to court? Is that what you're saying?
But my point is that statement that they just put up there, it means that they are considering the decision that they have made on the tenure position, which means the president is, to me, the how I see it, is walking back on the statement that he made in regards to appointment for those tenure positions. And I was listening to Edwin Snow, listening. These people that we have in the house there, they are opposition. You don't expect them to support you. No, you don't expect them to support you. These people are testing your ability. They're testing to see what kind of president you are.
Okay, let's have our audience engage here before I come to you, Sissy. Let's go to this caller here, 412 number caller. Good evening. What's your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, Pastor, this is Dr. Toto.
Okay, Dr. George Toto from Pittsburgh, senior analyst of the Liberia Public Radio. Are you in Bond County or are you here?
No, I'm here in the U.S.
I'm grading papers.
Okay. As usual, we are here again to deal with another Tabata from the Liberal. He and his son here having some sort of a divided role here. But let's hear you. I guess you've been following the conversation here. What's your son?
Yeah, definitely. I've been following the conversation, but I want to make a comment on the issue of the 10th position.
Okay.
For me, the way I look at the whole situation, I think the legislature, the Senate, they are the problem in a small country they call Nigeria. When they created the 10th position, was created by art of the legislature. And those guys are so lazy. They will just come and create this position or create a law. They don't even go back to even to ratify to make an amendment to the Constitution. They just leave it just like that. And then you expect when the new government come in, they just want to accept what is written in it. And the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. They have position that later in the Constitution as a general position. No position cannot be influenced or people appointed to the position cannot be removed from the position or they serve that chair. When there were other positions that were created, internal position, they didn't go back to ratify the Constitution to put in the Constitution that we make it an amendment or adjustment to the Constitution to list the other internal positions. They just left it just like that. Now, the Supreme Court already gave the opinion on that matter in the previous leadership. So even if President Barker come now and say they're removing people from tenure position, for me, I think President Barker is in the right direction because the Supreme Court already gave that opinion on that on that matter. So I don't see the reason why people should be bashing the president for removing from tenure position. The problem is with the Senate. Now, the Senate are there to confirm. If the Senate know that the president removed people from tenure position, they send people for confirmation, all they need to do, reject the people and say, no, this position is a tenure position, Mr. President, we're not going to accept your nominee and will be rejected. But they're not doing anything, they just jump around causing noise. You see the other person go to the radio station, putting their own opinion outside there. The power lies right in their head. I don't know why they keep jumping around. They don't want to address the big issue. Those guys are very lazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
in their one second, right? In their offices, they have all their various staff that compared to Congress or Senate in the US. They have research analysts, they have research data, they get it, person did that. They got all those staff in their office. I don't know what they're getting there for. They give people good research to get some good suggestion, good recommendation. But every time they just jumping from place to place.
Nothing to do.
Okay. So yeah, I think what you say exactly, because when they voted for these 20 positions, about 9, that was in May of 2022 when it came up with this year, the Senate. At the end of the day, when the president appoints, these people will have to go for confirmation. They don't even have to come out publicly to say this, their view, look, I am not going to vote on this. This is my position. But to come to, are they seeking attention from the president for the executive to have some sort of a dialogue? Do you think by then coming up, say, I listened to Snow today, and he tries to kind of like walk a fine line. Oh, I don't think normally, hey, we don't know. I mean, politicians are just politicians. We don't know the phone calls that are going to be rolling out overnight. And usually when you see this sort of thing happening, the leadership going to hold fire with everything to make sure that they get a vote before it can even be introduced on the floor. But listen to hearing what Terry was saying with the communication verified by CCA. Do you think the administration want to take a different approach?
Yeah, I think so. But I don't want for the administration to take a different approach to the issue. They let them do what they're supposed to do. If they go to the Senate, let the Senate do what they're supposed to do. You don't reject the people or send a note to the secretary and say, look, this is a technical position. We don't want to create this position. We're not going to allow this position to be filled. They have the power to do that. But you know, unfortunately, one of the problems that we face in our country, our people are not, they don't have that due diligence to deal with issue nationally, and to have that co-rational or critical thinking. I listen to Darrell Dillon on the issue of Zolizo. The reason why they rejected Zolizo for, he said that Zolizo lied on the oath. Now you have some other people that the government they nominated. They went through Senate confirmation. They have serious issue. They have credential issue. They have public opinion issue. They raise their hand up, and everybody know that lie, and they confirm them. But yet they say,
right.
They confirm that, right.
You know, this is the problem that we continue to hurt that country because people are not fair, they're not sincere in the situation.
Okay, let's go. Let me go to Lion Tech. Lion Tech, go ahead, make your point quickly, so I'll go back to my analyst.
Yeah, thanks very much. This is so. Well, I think so. Don't you think the way that this government is proceeding, don't you think this government, the red flag have been raised, and we, the people, the citizens in the diaspora in Liberia, we need to start finding a way to impeach this government.
So what?
Because in the history of, yes, to impeach this government. Yes.
And you see somebody are talking? And the young man trying to put herself in a position that you cannot even handle.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Well, you cannot compare with you. You cannot be fair.
So why would be the
why they impeach Joey for violating?
Why would be the impeachment proceeding now? That war impeachment.
Well, you're the intellectual. Okay, magicians.
No, then let me say.
Then
let me say.
Educators like
Sissy.
Mr. Goya. You have to respect Sissy. Respect people. At least in the situation they got on through we can make it fast. But Terry, you cannot continue. You are you cannot continue to preach for this government.
The men are let me move. I create my own trouble on the network.
Impeachment proceeding against this government.
What I'm saying is that we need to start educating, putting the pressure on the lawmaker, on the people out there to find a way, possibly the diplomatic way, trying to impeach this government because this government, as I said earlier,
why?
Analysis that this government is a serious dictatorship government. Even trying to push us into some serious problem. We keep with the raw analysis. You say, oh, people beating it that we just want to get out of raw politics of propaganda on the government.
Okay, quickly before I let you go. Was there any possible scenario you think to the CDC, the joint we are government could have been impeached as well?
No, you cannot. You know, they want to problem life within the people. You know, you cannot compare our lapses with these people. We made some mistakes, it's true.
Oh, they are not impeachable offense, right?
But they want more government. Says yeah, government. And they want more government.
The way you start to say, you're struggling with your answer.
That was taken for the consolidated account, citizen government use and the rest of the money, now we're accounted for by this government.
Thank you so much.
We need to start talking about that also too.
Thank you so much.
The government are already corrupting people seriously. And we need to start educating people to put the pressure on. Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You see, when we have this we get a long way to go. I want to. Yeah. So we Isao. So you think Yeah, like a
But I hear Keto to know. Keto ain't call you.
The twin brother breakable will call so, and then will call them.
Oh.
the next one I'm going to call a breakable power. That's how it needs sound. How it
And
just
he coming for me straight. Today by you now homostasis.
Oh my God. Okay, all right, folks. You can call and make your observation. But I listened to a little portion of the Justice Minister designate, and I think when he came out to say, "I'm not working for the president," that was a defining moment. It creates a situation where, look, honor my wife as the Minister of Justice. In as much you appointed me as minister, I'm not here to do your way. I'm here to interpret and enforce the law. And I think this guy, when I was working at Ministry of Post and Telecommunication, Maurice Duclay, he was the legal counsel to the ministry. So he been around for quite a while. So he's not somebody down the law asking that question like, you don't know this guy. He was a legal counsel. He was a legal counsel at the Ministry of Post and Telecommunication. He been around for a while now. So we don't want to jump the guns. We don't want to run ahead of our shadow. But that point he mentioned today, that bravery, whether there was a consultation with the president, this is what I'm going to say. But I think he just hit the shot. Look, I am not going to be answerable. I'm going to interpret the law. I'm going to enforce the law. And I guess with he and the police chief and the DEA, hopefully somewhere down the road, with this sort of liberal people type, liberal something told them type of idea will not corrupt the minds of these people to do it the right way. Yeah, seriously, because the enforcement and implementation, that's what matters. Because I hope that when these people, some of these people who are really committed to get certain things done, certain officials or certain people who are close with authority will not intervene. Cecil, when you heard that, what comes to mind?
Well,
that was unusual, for confirmation hearing for somebody to be so blunt and to do that. Like, hey, I'm not doing it to appease the president.
What comes to mind is that President Joseph Nyaman Boakai listened to the Brum Revolution and what Tewan Gonglo had been saying and what we asked him to do if he wanted our support. If you listen to Tewan all through the campaign, he said that he was going to run the justice ministry under his administration that would be free of interference, that the law had to be applied to all Liberians equally, that nobody would be below the law or above the law. And so I think that's what that justice minister is saying. And look, in serious government, and I believe this is a serious government, before nominees show up to the Senate for confirmation, they have these scenarios where people are asking them questions and they're practicing. So that thing did not come out of thin air. I want to believe that this nominee, I had a conversation with President Boakai, and both of them agreed that they want a justice ministry that would be free from the influence of the presidency and free from the influence of outsiders, that the law is applied equally. So for me, for him making that statement, I give credit, one, to him as a nominee for saying that, to give some courage to Liberians who have felt that the law has not been applied equally to them. And number two, credit goes to the president for having somebody that would say, I want my independence. And he still say, yes, you go ahead. Because I want to believe he must have said that to the president before going to the Senate. So to have a president who agrees to send somebody like that means that Joseph Nyaman Boakai, His Excellency, is trying to implement those campaign speeches and some of the things that the LPP said that we wanted. So for me, I give kudos to him, the president, and to the nominees. To say that to Liberian people is getting Liberian people to believe again that our justice system, the police, the DEA, and all of those other people are going to work for everybody. There is not going to be a CDC police and a UP police, or a CDC jail and a Unity Party jail, and everybody else is. The justice minister is going to be the justice minister for all Liberians. And for me, that gives me courage. However, though, my brother Terry, consultation or political dealings is how people run governments. We are not doing benevolent dictatorship in Liberia. The president needs his agenda to be passed in the legislature. Beyond that, he needs the population with him. You saw that everything George Weah wanted, almost every law he wanted was passed, but he still lost the election because he didn't have the people with him. We know, sadly, the history of our legislature has been that people can give them something and they will vote against their own conscience. But just getting something passed is not necessarily a good thing if you don't have the population with you. So the statement that was put out there, for me, I don't read anything beyond that. The statement was put out that they're going to study it. They didn't withdraw those nominees. The president has not withdrawn the nominees that those people he nominated to replace those tenure positions. So they're going to keep those people going through the process, and they're going to look to see if there are other places where maybe there are things that need to be done differently. So they're walking and chewing gum at the same time. And I think, though, if we really want to be fair, this is a strategic move, because what then happens is, if opposition or anybody wants to go and say, oh, we outside here, they're doing us wrong, and say, well, what are you yelling for? The man said, the president already said they're thinking about it. They already put them at bay. You got to wait till the group come out with a report. And you really believe that the president, having the likes of Bujuben with him, will come together with a team that will go and study something that they have not studied already and don't already know what the outcome is going to be? In politics, this thing is dead. The president is just trying to get people to quiet down. They're now withdrawing those nominees. And they're not going to. He didn't hear me. He hear me with fire back. They are not going to withdraw those nominees. Those nominees are going to go through. But what they're trying to get at is that those people will go to court. That process will play out, and we will continue to look at the 10-year process. Look, I think Dr. Toto made a salient point. The senators have this thing in their hand. I remember weeks before the inauguration, when the Senate was doing an interview of the laws that they have passed, this issue of tenure positions came up. The Senate have passed a different version than what the House passed, and they were supposed to go to a conference committee to agree on something. That conference committee work was never quite done. So they didn't even complete their own work. So this is within their purview of the Senate, where they see gaps, where they see holes in this tenure situation. They need to pass legislation that fix that. That's what responsible legislators do. Is you pass a law and you see some mistakes and you see some gaps and you continue to pass fixes to those laws. But to just go around and talk all of their hair like they're doing on various platforms, like they don't understand the power they have, is really, really sad. So for me, back to your question about the Justice Minister, I think I give credit to President Boakai, and I give credit to the Justice Minister Destiny. I think this is a good beginning for Liberia.
Okay. Amos George.
Yes, sir.
This guy was slamming you. You are, but he has to
we still say Coca-Cola. We're still beyond the goal.
So who you think you were talking to? So
Not me.
Terry Wash now. Mr. So is here tonight. This is the guy we had last night. We have no issue. You see, the first statement he's making, he will still sell Coca-Cola. He's digging in. Watch.
When Sissy was talking about Coca-Cola, you don't talk. When Sissy made reference to Coca-Cola, you don't talk. Then Sissy said, oh, he ain't hear me. But I'm waiting.
But Mr. So, me, patron, that Mr. Mali, I don't know what you're waiting for, but.
okay, I know we are almost getting to the time. 20 minutes is better late than never. Amos George, good evening.
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Great. Let me just jump into your playbook quick here. This turning position here. What the heck is going on? What do you think? The conversation so varies. The Lpr been so ridiculous here tonight, but Sissy and I would manage to put in check, and he took a consolatory position at last. So you listen to Bujuben?
Yeah, I listen to the legal advisor, and I listened to some crack. Had that thing somewhere or whatever, but then I heard Radio Kigali was there, people talking all kinds of
radio. Who? Radio what? Kigali? Where?
Yeah, / Kigali.
That's full TV you're talking about too.
Yeah.
They investigate.
Full TV calling Radio Kigali. Wow, it was Josh.
Thank God you already win that election, man. You're going to be crazy in our country. Tell that demonstration going go.
No,
You're a close station now for common. Yeah, okay, look, kind of serious note here. Yeah, and that's what happens when
Radio Kigali, I know Freedom FM saying we are led, they just disappear.
Yeah, they were there. I know what ABN and this, but let me say this here.
It's still there.
This thing is not about friendship. This is why I see so many lawmakers drink, because I heard Snow on Spoon. These are our friends. Hell no. It's not about friendship. When the hell when Joy we have more Asset Jackson from London, Asset Jackson is not other people's friends? So one of these people now are your friend that you want to protect. This is a nonsense I talk about. It's not about friendship. It's about applying the rules of law. Look, I said it yesterday. And the legislature is not being high. The people who are high, let them go to court to seek redress.
Simple as that.
That is the legislature. That when they go there, they want to reject them. Let them reject the people. People, nobody will ask them. But you can be going on station, oh, the president, this and that. These are all Liberians. These are our friends. I don't care what hang about you, friend.
Snow at that rate. Snow.
When you're moving, when you're sitting there, when you're moving, other people, the people think on that other people has formally.
But Papa, why you can take people that Snow than you, and why you can really
because these are the people that do the gas lighting, people, they got people who follow these people. So we have to go after them.
Josh.
This is a problem. If any people
the Lpr is feeling uncomfortable with you right now, Pa Joy.
I don't care.
No, I'm enjoying. I like his statement. Like I said, Terry and I have bamboozled Mr. George.
This thing here, the Constitution gives everybody the right to affiliate with any political party. That's it. That's the law. Fine. But when you are going to an institution, those entities are guided by principles.
Right.
If they say when you serve in a position, because of the nature of your job, you cannot be actively involved in politics. They ain't saying that you cannot vote, but they say you should not be involved.
The Lpr said there's no problem with that, George.
No. There's a problem. When they say that you cannot be actively involved in politics, it means that you can't go to attend rallies, you wear political party T-shirt, you speak on behalf of them. That is wrong. So if those things are rules to govern your operation, you have to live within the confines of that rules. And if you go against it, then of course you will pay the price. If it costs you to lose your job, go. Because why? You didn't play by the rules. It's just like when you see the police, all paramilitary organization, the police, the army, what have you, immigration, DA. The rules are there. You cannot actively be involved in politics with any political parties. The vote, you can go in there, the day election, you go and cast a vote, you come. But what do we see? We saw people in police uniform with CDC T-shirt with gun across the chest.
EPS.
Now, when you do that, then the people blame as government operatives. Then the people, you see, because you have put yourself in the position and the institution, you're not supposed to do it. But all these things were happening under the watch of George Weah, kept it out. They were not nowhere to say anything. It was the president rights to do the thing.
You say who were not nowhere?
Kete then.
William Carter.
Kete.
He called him the third of the three Hebrew boys. That
They were not there to say no. To say these are bad precedents. We set. We cannot do so.
You're not correct.
They didn't do it. Now today, now on our Bwakai, they all not yelling. Now, the incident about this or the LSCC, the guy went to court. It's a little bit different. But one portion of that ruling will affect everybody in that position. They said, the Supreme Court said that the position, in a position in government, it is not your right to hold it for a lifetime. You are a contractor. They say you are a contractor. So if the terms of the contract is broken, then you just seek for benefit.
All right. So
that is not violating the Constitution.
the last,
You cannot hold any position for you to say, oh, I'll be here for 15 years. No, they say it's not your right. The person who gave that contract can terminate it. So all you got to do, go to court to make sure your benefit or whatever is paid as is paid or what they call deemed fit. So this is what we're talking about. But I'm seeing this politics will have to be very careful with it. And what Honorable Barker did today is not that. He's not going to withdraw the nomination. But he just did this to quiet the noise now. Because they will stand by the legal advice and let it say go to court. And that way the remedy is at court. Now people going on the station to talk out of crap. Stay there.
okay, let's do a little quick spin before we go in the next 15 minutes. Mr. Soul, why are you asking the caller questions while he is still talking? Mr. Soul, I think you are supporting JB too, right?
If you were therapy back there.
Because I noted in a few days, they are all in favor of the ruling party. Oh my goodness.
Brother, so are you an honor cover UPS?
Eh?
Are you an honor cover UPS because you got your guy now accusing you?
Well,
Any people get all accusing me.
I mean, we can accuse. I don't see. I'm an errant player. Have the right. We said that we accuse other people. So why people can't accuse them?
Talking about the single player, it's been a long time. The post election.
I think it's time for you to be showing face here, so you can. Let's bring the last 15 minutes. We saw the incoming DEA chief, my man Kalulu Ebi Kroma, is his move. I think that shines a sort of light on the administration's possible attempt, or not possible attempt, but fight against drugs. That's a little portion we're seeing, and hopefully, I think they are making appeal to get. So, but what I don't know, how long it will go, and whether there will be no interference from other people. I don't think that's what AB going to accept. We're going to wait and see. But that gives the government a good image. I mean, the outlook. We're waiting to see the detail, but the idea, the attempt, the aggressive move by them. And one thing, what I saw was the images, the rights of those people, the detainees, the suspects, fully protected. He was talking. You're not going to tie that kind of concept. You see people, you don't even get them through the court system. You start beating them and start doing, that sort of excessive force of using police and people tussling over them. We didn't see that happening. And what really caught my attention right after that, the process, and they said they take them to the court and turn everything over. That's how it's supposed to work. That's the system we have now. Well, that continues. That's the thing. Where there be no any interfering. What happens when an EPS officer is caught with a drugs, or police officer, or any senior government official? Is there any statute of limitation? I'm trying to reach out to him for us to have that conversation as well. AB Kroma, let's see what going to happen. I mean, these are my own key questions. Whether they're going to be other people going to be exempted, or only the ordinary person that live down, maybe Busekwara or Jaratan area there, when they get January, just saying what happens when high-profile government officials are caught.
I don't know, but for AB will not. Maybe people try to also, but from his interview, and I know AB, I don't think he's going to slow down. Except the president want him not to function, but the president is very forceful on this drug issue, and AB is taking the fight to the people. So the guy that AB arrested, that guy, he had worked on AB car. AB had bought parts on it. So someone was trying to say, he said, oh, I know AB. So AB said, yes. Somebody tried to ask him, oh, the guy said he know you. So AB said, yes. This man had worked on my car, but the impression this man had created is different. He did car parts. That's the business he said he was doing. But now in the back, he's doing a complete different thing. So you see that? And this is what some of the criminals do. They try to get the close to people.
They've been around for a while.
Yeah, I know. They try to get the people close who got some influence. So they can use that also as an alibi. Someone can, oh, I will call the director as my friend. So if we took the team there to the fight to them and have me arrested, and today they took them to South Beach. They took them to South Beach. This is the kind of thing we're talking about. And if he said it, if any officer, DEA officer, he said that they're going to do some internal investigation because there were some people who were DEA officers were involved in some drug deals, and some of the people were reinstated. He said, "Don't go, they must just forget it. They will go because you cannot be fighting drugs and you got someone inside."
I think there are some regulations. Certain trucks, certain vehicle will not be entering the city at certain period of time. I mean, to fight these things is not easy. It's on land measure. Okay, quickly, Dr. Toto.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your initial reaction with respect to what how aggressive with that? I mean, it comes with a lot of work, resources, capacity, logistics, and all of that. I mean, it's not easy. You're not just going to fight it in Monrovia. It means they're going to get involved in massive recruitment, training, capacity buildings, and it's going to go on. You need to have stop borders control and all of that. Drugs thing is not an easy thing, and I think hopefully they can reach out. But let's just get a quick reaction. Any violations with respect to the DEA move recently?
No. I'm not seeing any violation of, first of all, I commend the work of the DEA, and especially AD. I know AD very well. In fact, he was a second vice chairman of the board of directors in EULA when Chairman Kuni was chairman of EULA. So we worked together very closely. I know they talk about 20 years. You know, you talk about the work for the DEA is a very tough work. We hope, unless the ABO on Spoon Network, he got a lot of big dreams to really fight drugs in Liberia. I just hope the government be able to pour enough money into their operation. Because you cannot fight drugs without money. They talk about what they want to do. They talk about getting vehicles. And later they didn't have vehicles. So the people who were using it was so better. Can you imagine? You know, using government or private owner cars to carry on operation. Is not good at all. They need to try to do all that. The government to provide vehicles for them and give them the logistics and support to carry on their work. One thing I thought about in Liberia, first of all, I saw Columbia or emissary in Liberia near the port.
Wow.
I said, wow.
That's
Columbia, because we know Columbia.
That's a last name.
Yeah, we don't ready. So I see why drugs high in the country, why the we are administration or either any drugs were allowed to put a embassy or emissary in Monrovia. We have a society where drugs is very high, and we know where Colombia is one of the hot now. We're talking about the trio embassy and very near the port also too. You know, so they have to do a work on it. To be fair,
I'm quite sure they'll reach out with the Germans. I think you reach out with the Germans.
So people might say, protocol to go to the foreign ministry or that sort of thing. I'm sure, but they have to do some investigation. Colombia, we know Colombia, our country. You get an embassy right there.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, guys, let's spin it. We're gonna keep working with the time frame here. The Liberal, my return to net produced a bad night for the Liberal. What sister I am from bombing, man. The other time what a war he used again, some kind of
man, you're talking about Sam Brown. What the words that made you that day? I forget that, man.
my God. That's why.
I can't go look for it now. I forget.
Yeah, the other guy, the comedian, your lexicon to really capitulate or whatever the liberal here tonight. Okay, but yeah, guys, we're gonna be wrapping up here. But let's see. The week wasn't bad though, for the administration. We don't know what's gonna be happening in the new week because the last week only traveling. Controversial, different multiple statement, president visit, not visit, we jet plane carry the president and all of that. But this week here, it looks pretty good. The strike, few people appear and I sort of little kind. Let's see what's going to happen in the coming week. What's your anticipation, Terry?
Well,
what are your apprehension? Why do you think the GOL still falling short that they need to step up their game?
well, I think you want to put your opponent, you want to put the opposition on the defensive instead of the offensive. And Ambassador Boka had a bad footing from the initial stage of the leadership by opening a lot of wounds or opening a lot of loopholes that gave the opposition the ability now to be on the offensive. You saw what happened in Nigeria and Ivory Coast game. You know why Nigeria lost? Because Nigeria scored first and they started defending. So Ivory Coast put the pressure on them until they score. The reason why President Weah lost the election is because President Weah spent more time defending than being on the offensive to attack. And that is what you don't want to begin your government by doing. And the example, we're still discussing Miata formula. The news is dying slowly about that 600,000 budget that is not yet accounted for. We still have the chairman budget, 350 grand.
But he's been appointed. He's been appointed. So with that case, it become a court case now.
This is what I'm saying. That these are loopholes that you have opened up that you have now. You now in a defensive position. So we're defending now. We're not attacking. We're not on the offensive, and that is what I think the government need to now regain herself, start to do some major things like this drug bust stuff. It put you on the offensive. Everybody talking about it. It distract the people. You need now to open another wound. Do some audit. Put the opposition on the defensive. Then you will have a better footing for your government to sail. Otherwise, you're gonna open a corridor for something else. And something I wanted to respond to my CM brother says, but I never had a time. I'm not looking at Ambassador Boka to be a dictator because. You say, oh, Ambassador Boka is not. We're not running a dictator government. It's true. If Ambassador Boka would have acted like President Weah, wherein the case went to court on the 10-year position, and the court ruled in favor of Arthur Jackson, and President Weah still removed the man, that is dictatorship. But if Ambassador Boka made his appointment according to his rights as the president, the head of state, and it goes to court, and the court rules, and he refused to follow in line with what the court says, then Ambassador Boka he is operating as a dictator. And last day or so, or something or Liberal said that I really want to look at. He talked something about, there is something Ambassador Boka did these few days, that speech that he wrote, Liberal on the executive mansion, I think some statement, and about his nominees or his appointees should declare the assets, which is a very good thing. That was a very good thing. But if you want your nominees to be able to not involve themselves into corruption deeply, Ambassador Boka also need to tell them to publish their assets. The reason is we want to see what they have generated over the years, what kind of house they own, who they are, and all of that. What do they have? Then it will minimize the ability to steal, because they know that anytime they steal and they do something contrary, we build one house somewhere or do something, we will check them because we already got the documents in our hand in the public. So my advice to Ambassador Boka is to take these steps by making sure that they publish their assets. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ooh. Emma George.
Yeah. Look, whenever any law become functional, it has a big challenge. If it's not yet challenge, you can say anything. So what if the executive mansion, any lawyer say this and that? When that law goes to court, the Supreme Court get a ruling, then we can say now this is a precedent that have been set or started decided. So all what the people saying, John Brown say is the right, Peter Brown say is not the right. I'm saying let it go to the Supreme Court. It will be something that will be fast track. Go there. Now on the issue of what we should expect next, well, the political, is say there's an embassy, they say in, so maybe we don't know what next what will be coming out. But I'm continuing to say this thing here. I want to see Honorable Boakai full cabinet formation. And let me say, because you got a whole lot of people here still waiting for confirmation hearing. And the way the Liberian Senate created this law that these people cannot function until they have confirmed. So these are some of the things to go back to start looking at. Because if someone takes over, you said the minister cannot act, the director cannot act. I mean, how are you expecting to run? I saw the other day saying, Mo Ali, why you wanted the minister to do what? And so when I got to come to Mo Ali defense, you know that you're not supposed to go to the ministry, I mean the agency. So how do you people expect this area to be functional? So these are some of the things they should look at, some of the laws and things in the past. What the benefit of those laws? What is in
I think there's a flip side to it too, because these places have some, depending on the places, there are some sensitive documents. You don't want people go there, start throwing their hands all in it, and then at the end of the day, they're not confirmed. That's how a lot of things get out there. But I think they should expedite the process. I think that's one of the things.
But if you deal with these people or the other people there who will not be, who are not sure that they will be there, you don't think they can tamper with the document also?
Okay, you know what? You must not go to court today's Friday.
You want to create some leeway, so I'm just trying to ask you. That's all. But so we don't know what will be happening.
Miss the Omeo. When you miss him, when you can't, then get back to you.
I don't expect much, but the noise, I think Honorable Boakai got to push back on some of the noise here, because these people just hold on noise and making, because you see that guy who talk about impeachment, that war coming from sister, his friend, where he went to Texas. I can't agree.
Sister friend?
Yeah, went to Texas.
Agree? Hey, George. All right, let's leave it here today's Friday.
No, the man, okay. I can't agree. Already that they might impeach Joseph Boakai.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So you see,
Mark get nominated Donald Trump to be the speaker. So what's wrong with that?
The inauguration, it will not happen. Then Joseph Boakai will not be president.
Yeah. Yeah, will happen next week, because the host now saying that they have subpoenaed. They have asked the Minister of State and the Minister of Finance to appear next week to explain the trip.
The trip
of Honorable Joseph Boakai. So the host now say they want to know, the Minister of State and that of the Finance Minister must come to explain the trip.
But I think this is healthy for our democracy, though, because people shouldn't, it's not because it is executive. I mean, I know it's sort of strange happening, but this is what should be happening. That's their job, to hold the executive accountable.
That's what I'm saying. I said these are
the
next week will be on the table. Those are some of the things that they will be expecting next week to see this firework. And it was Honorable Yaga Kolban who wrote that letter to the plenary, the host.
Man.
I
don't know. I wonder the guy can sleep in the night. I don't know why he can't hear, because the talking he been doing.
That's a very good question, Mr. Su.
I'm wondering. Or some sort of migraine. Let me tell you before you get. You got it, Umba. Okay, so say, look, we are wrapping up. The week, I think this week went smooth. We don't know whether there's going to be a turbulence in the coming week with different things. Now the House calling the Ministry of State, they want to bring a receipt, the travel of Vice President Kuhn, receipt, blah 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 blah. What is that? Is that some sort of what? Just a what? Trying to post an icing on the cake here to say, hey, this is what going on, or everything else see well.
That is the hallmark of confused people. And there are a lot of them in there. Even though Akaras Gray and Step Past Salomon George are no longer there, but there's still a lot of confused people.
Who is Step Past? What are you talking about?
Well,
Why you got to step up confusion?
He was the man, my boyfriend. So
yeah, and that way, Joey.
So,
but I was talking about George was I agree.
Now I'm a master in plenary. So anyway, by the way, it's on record in the Liberian legislature, so they can't get me to come there.
No, it's there. It's there. So you're right. It's there.
When you reach around me, you know what I think. He's already there. Probably key.
But on a serious note, my brother Terry, political compromise is not weakness.
No,
especially so when your margin of victory is so thin.
Yeah,
as it is with the current president. You need to make as much compromise as you can, and that is not showing weakness. That is showing in politics to be able to maneuver and be able to get people to the table to see things your way that otherwise will not see things your way is a hallmark of a strong leader. Again, the country went very slightly for the Unity Party. This president needs to bring the country along. He's saying we're going to listen to your concerns. Doesn't mean he's withdrawing. No. The nomination is made. Nomination is going on. We'll listen to your concern. Okay, you got a complaint. Okay, come. Either you're beginning to go beat somebody, punch the person in the face, but they can't say, oh, begin can't say, I post mama will listen, we're complaining. The punching really happening, we're going on. The president is moving on. But look, what I'm looking forward to, and one of the things I think I wanted to talk about was the issue of, those people showing up that have not been confirmed and, some of the harm they could do. I just want us to remember S. Baranta. S. Baranta signed the bank note on Amos Sawyer as Minister of Finance when he had not even been confirmed. When he went for confirmation, he was rejected. But his signature was on our bank notes as Minister of Finance. So we want to be I think those are some of the reasons why people are concerned about folks not showing up to their workplaces before confirmation. Now, what am I looking forward to next week? I'm looking forward to MCSS following the examples of the LDEA. We have people at Krumah that have shown us that they know better and they're doing better. My brother, Professor Zaula, I know your man responded to my inquiry and said that, the website is working, and we went to the website, it's down. And y'all say we should go on Twitter and we should go on Instagram to get student data. Professor, you know better. You ought to do better. Next week, we're kicking our campaign into a higher gear. We'll be reaching out to newspapers. We'll be writing articles in Liberia. If you don't do the right thing, this is not going to go away. We will face Liberia by fire. And it's starting with MCSS because MCSS is the largest urban school district. And most of the rural school districts are based on their model. We will fix the model before we move on to the rural side.
And Mr. So, I want to ask you, please extend an invitation to Professor Zawa, because this is his.
So the man took out the triple X down or what? Is still getting?
They took the whole website down.
Okay.
But
Right.
Mr. So,
I got a website on the screen, so even though took it down, I still got it up on the screen.
Yeah.
I still got the screenshot of it, so they can do what they want to do. We got it.
Yeah, I think we can reach out to him.
reach out to Professor Zawa, like he can't. This is his home turret, so it should not be anything. So we can have a frank discussion.
Okay. If Papa he left trouble, business. Anyway, he can be pushing all day. All right, we'll reach out to him.
Yeah, reach out to Professor Zawa.
Yeah, he's our own guy. The liberal.
This man
Yeah,
told
Mr.
that
Shaw,
every child is in Liberia, we're going to have cell phone. Every children were going to be paid on this platform. Is there? So they ain't got to tell what the progress made.
Meanwhile, they still got a website in foreign language, but they want picture in it.
That I think he went to school in Ukraine.
Let me just say this.
wow. Oh, yeah.
Mr. So, let me say this. Let me say this.
Yeah, but Professor, I went to school in I think either Russia or Ukraine. That's what Professor Zhao went.
He went to school in Kiev, Ukraine.
All right.
Yeah, that Ukraine. I'm not lying.
So, Mr. So, my closing is this. Mr. Am I audible?
Yeah, we hear you clear.
We hear you.
Why Mr. George talking when I'm still talking?
No, Pa George is not talking anymore.
So anyhow, let me say this. I'm going to say this one time to the Aaron Blood, IE number 9. That your yellow jersey you can be wearing like bread. I don't want we coming with a government. Your bumblebee, African bees are being killed from South America. All the hot bees, they can't let them cross. They don't want the African bees to be mixed with the American bees. Don't come wear your yellow jacket and think say you come fear us, frighten us. This is about Liberia. IE number 9, fan play to you can come on here and make an argument, but you can't frighten us. And one last thing to Mr. So, the liberal is a good man. The liberal is the best. The liberal, they love me on this show. If I don't show up, they ask you question, what have you done to the liberal? So, Mr. So, good night.
Yeah. Oh my God. Lord. Okay, well, guys, thank you so much. You slaughtering a goat tomorrow?
I'm out of goat business. My stomach getting too big. I'm out of goat business.
Oh, now you know. Okay, guys. All right, Mr. Goyat, Collins, Pajoy,
So please don't forget. Please send an open invitation to Professor Zhao. This is his home.
You see,
and he come back.
you know what? These are the people that will make this
We're going to hold a rope every day.
Jackson, you see, Mr. Jackson, Khalifa, can you come here one day to tell us why the liberal is the best? This is the people who can make this liberal to creates a sort of political satire on this network called drama. Let's see what he right here. The liberal is the best. Seriously? Best for what?
The person on feeling, man. The person today. You see, Terry is the worst person today. Same breakable income for him today. You lucky. That would tell Lion King for him.
All right, Khalifa Jackson, thank you so much. We value our people's views, their opinions. Sister, thank you so much. And to all of the guys, we hope to be back here. Yeah, we'll try to I would reach out to Professor Zaulo as well to let him know and see what he says, and hopefully he can accept our invitation that his own network anyway. All right, guys, have a pleasant evening. Okay, folks, that does it this evening. I'm Alfonso Z and so of the Liberal Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to thank all of you for your time to this evening, morning hour, depending on your location, your comments, your views. All we matters. Yes, we critique people. We also talk about people to administrative policy. And so we also are liable for people to question us, to express their views, their opinions, what they think and feel about us. That doesn't necessarily make us to be in that. But I mean, fair to balance, we must give people the opportunity to have this conversation. Having this conversation does not suggest that we are against. The media is not a resistant force. We're there to intercede the citizen rights and its government to inform, to educate, and allow people to make informed decisions. Obviously, there are people here who share their political ideologies, be it with the oppositions or the ruling establishment. It's obvious. But we intend to keep a fair balance and proportionate. Importantly, people who also have their side of the story, to give them the opportunity to speak. And this is why we do not sanction voices. As long as your views, your opinions is expressed in a civil context, we give you that opportunity to have those sort of discussions. It's 10:11 Eastern Standard Time right here. We want to thank you so much for your time this evening. If this is the first time bumping into this network, we say it. You can get us via Facebook, Lpr Public Radio. You can get us on Twitter, on YouTube, our channels, and all of you see that. You can subscribe in order to get a light when we are on. We also have an official website where you can monitor major news outlet in and outside of Liberia. www.librapublicradio.com. It is an official website where you will be able to get up-to-date news making headlines in Liberia and other parts of the world. Until then, folks, thank you so much. Again, if you want to be an analyst, you want to be a contributor, you want to be a commentator on this network, you are at liberty to reach us, except that we don't have money to pay you. All what you see here, it is an ultimate sacrifice you guys are doing, giving back to the country in a different forms and different shape. So just in case you have an interest and wondering, how can I join? How can I be part of the conversation about my country, about your country? Let us know. Get a test skin, except that we can ask our analysts to establish their full disclosure in terms of their political ideology. We do not want to keep our people being apprehensive. We don't want people to start guessing, oh, that man, he's talking to this, he's talking to that. And this is why when they come here, I ask them to establish your identity, who you are. It doesn't matter which party. No voice should be left behind. Thank you so much. And by God's willing, we'll be back here in the coming week for more news, information, and entertainment is less minimum, because the entertainment aspect is so much, so we must focus on information sharing. Have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
Vamos,